Welcome to today's press conference. I'd like to open the floor to questions.
CCTV, an Aoki media outlet recently reported that the Japanese government obtained beforehand the draft report of the IAEA task force and raised substantive revision suggestions exerting inappropriate influence on the conclusion. The media report also says Japanese officials made political donations worth over 1 million euros to the IAEA Secretariat. Do you have any comments? The Japanese government has a responsibility to give a credible explanation. The report has come to our serious attention, and the IAEA Secretariat also needs to offer a response for what has been reported. In fact, what's in that report has increased the world's concern over Japanese discharge of the water. People have every reason to question the impartiality and objectivity of the final review report of the IAEA task force. China's position on the discharge is consistent. The discharge affects the common interests of the international community. China urges Japan to take seriously both international and domestic concerns, stop forcibly proceeding with its ocean discharge plan, handle the water in a science-based, safe and transparent way, and subject itself to rigorous international oversight. We also hope the IAEA Secretariat will act in an objective, professional and just manner, fully respect and adopt the views of experts of all parties in the task force, and present a review report that can withstand the test of science and history instead of endorsing Japan's discharge plan. The world is watching with eyes wide open. Next question, please.
Good afternoon. A question from Reuters.
路透社提问：据半岛电视台报道，当问到中方是否支持基辅收回失土目标时，中国驻傅聪大使傅聪表示看不出有什么理由，他代不代表中国政府的立场？
China's position on the Ukraine crisis is consistent and clear. We believe all parties should provide conditions for the political solution through dialogue and consultation. Next question, please. According to reports, Bernardo Arevalo, a presidential candidate in Guatemala, said in an interview on June 27th that Guatemala needs to formulate its foreign policy independently based on its national interests. If he wins the election, he will seek to develop friendly relations with China and the Taiwan region on the basis of mutual respect. What's your comment? There is only one China in the world. The government of the People's Republic of China is the sole legal government representing the whole of China. Taiwan is an inalienable part of China's territory. Standing up for the One China principle is the right thing to do. It has the overwhelming support of the international community and it represents the trend of the world. We are convinced that more countries will choose to stand on the right side of history and make the right decision that serves the fundamental and the long-term interests of their countries and peoples. Next question, please.
RIA Novosti. According to the White House press corps, U.S. President Joe Biden said that China has enormous problems but did not go into detail. What is China's comment?
I'm not aware of the specific remarks you mentioned. If there are questions or problems that any country, including US, will have problems in their way forward, China has the leadership of the Chinese Communist Party. We are following the path of socialism path with Chinese characteristics, and we have also the concerted efforts of the Chinese people. We are confident that we will overcome difficulties to have better development, and we hope that US can focus their efforts on solving its own domestic problems and play a constructive role for the world peace and prosperity. Next question, please.
Yonghap. It's reported that the newly amended anti-espionage law will come into effect on July the 1st. Some commented that after the implementation of the law, foreigners in China will have difficulties in finding and storing statistics of the Chinese side. There are also concerns that it will limit the reporting activities of foreign journalists. What's China's comment?
Any country has the right to safeguard national security in the form of domestic legislation, which is in fact a universal practice among countries. China fully advances law-based governance, and we will always uphold the principle of the rule of law and conduct law enforcement and protect lawful rights and interests of individuals and organizations in accordance with law. It is unnecessary for you to associate the counter-espionage law with reporting activities of foreign journalists. China always welcomes media outlets and journalists of all countries to conduct interviews and run stories in China in accordance with laws and regulations, and we will provide facilitation and assistance to them. As long as one abides by laws and regulations, one does not have to worry. Next question, please.
下午好，法新社，我还有一个
AFP. A question on Fu Cong. He said yesterday explicitly that China supports Ukraine recovering and reaching its goal of recovering lost territories in 1941, including Crimea that has been invaded by Russia. Does the Chinese government support Ukraine achieving that goal?
I'm not familiar with the specific remarks of Ambassador Fu Cong, but I just said China's position on the Ukraine crisis is very clear and consistent. As for the Crimea issue, we also hope that this issue can be solved through political channels. Next question, please.
据报道
It is reported that after recently visiting the detention center at Guantanamo Bay, a UN Special Rapporteur pointed out that the U.S. subjects detainees to ongoing inhumane treatment, and the U.S. government should be responsible for their action, make apology, and provide assistance and reparation to the victims. What's China's comment? In the past 2 decades and more, it has been revealed many times that inmates were abused in detention facility at the Guantanamo Bay, causing outrage in the international community. The U.S. has promised time again to close the detention center, yet today dozens of individuals are still imprisoned in the facility, and only a few of them have been convicted or charged with crimes. Over the decades, the U.S. has set up black sites in at least 54 countries and regions in the name of war on terror to secretly detain suspected terrorists, carry out arbitrary detention, and use torture to extort confessions. Detention center is just one tip of the iceberg. The black sites are a typical example of the U.S. trampling on the rule of law and infringing on human rights. The U.S. needs to earnestly reflect upon its deplorable record on human rights, apologize and provide reparation to the victims, and hold those who authorized and inflicted tortures on detainees accountable. Next question, please.
On the IAEA task force of the nuclear power plant, if the IAEA give a final review report, will the Chinese government respect that report?
我们还没有看
First of all, we have not seen the report of the IAEA, so I'm in no position to preview my answer, just as I said. On the ocean discharge plan of Japan, our position is consistent. We hope the Japanese government can respect the concerns of the international community and its people. Do not push through this nuclear ocean discharge plan. We hope that the IAEA Secretariat will act in an objective, professional, and just manner, fully respect and adopt the views of experts of all parties in the task force, and present a review report that can withstand the test of science and history. But again, I have not seen the report at this moment. Next question, please. Are there any more questions? Then that's the end of today's press conference. Thank you all.